Hello, everyone. This is Akuchi. I'm here commentating a match in the 2025 Dominion Online Championship. This is a match between Kazumaru0828 and Minionpawn in the round of 32. And I will show the relevant bracket briefly. This is in the Monkey Octant. And this is one of the last matches in the round of 32. Kazumaru, Minionpawn, they're both the kind of top seeds in their portion of the bracket. So haven't been any unexpected upsets here. Kazumaru is the higher seed. And the winner of this match will go on to play Haka 3 in the round of 16. Okay. And I may be joined in commentary later by Olivera. But for now, I am by myself. All right, so first kingdom. What do we have here? Looks like Moneylender and Broker for trashing. Also Displace. Kind of nothing much to gain for less than 4. So we see both players open silver. Minionpawn and Kazumaru both opening Moneylender as well. So Moneylender will help you hit 5. Broker can do that as well with the coins option trashing estate. So Minionpawn getting a displace, and that's probably going to be their plan, is to displace estates into, I would expect, ports. But I really want to play with a broker on this board because there's Island Folk, which is a very strong ally. And broker is the only way to get favors. You could potentially use broker on spices. That'd be interesting. So Kazumaru goes ahead and gets spices here. And they'll probably get displace here, I assume. Or maybe broker. A little more flexibility. Minionpawn takes another silver. I don't know that you really want that many silvers. At some point, it might make sense to like gain nothing if you have less than 4 coins. So the draw here is awkward. There's Royal Blacksmith, so that's the only draw. You need to have cleared out your coppers by then, hopefully. So yeah, Kazumaru does go ahead and gets displaced. Neither player has a broker yet. So yeah, we can displace an estate into broker at some point. It's not it's a little bit redundant with displace. So if you are trying to play with Island Folk, which you should, you can like broker a spices. That's a pretty good target because you still get to keep the coffers. So it doesn't cost as much. Also, you can broker a gold that you gain from courtier. I don't think there aren't many good targets for courtier though. Yeah, just cauldron and broker are the only like 2 type. So it's actually trickier than usual to like gain gold with courtier. But you have plenty of actions with port and then bazaar as a backup. So you can play courtier terminally, and so you can do +3 coins and gain a gold. That's a pretty reasonable line to take. Cauldron could be pretty decent as an attack. At some point. So Kazumaru gets the Royal Blacksmith pretty early. And that was basically like their turn 4 or their turn 5 and 6 was just spent doing that. Broker can also trash an extra port. You have actions in the form of bazaar, so it's not critical that you hold on to all your ports. They're a pretty like efficient target. So we'll see if Minionpawn gets a blacksmith here. Heading into the shuffle. Could be good. You know, you could also do broker for draw on golds gained from courtier. So Minionpawn goes ahead and empties out the ports. I think that leaves them with 8. Okay, so that blacksmith discarded 4 copper, which is not great. And there's the money lender. Yeah, this is the risky run. I guess you can mule it. So what are we gaining a broker now? I would sure like to have a broker. There we go. And this could be spices, it could be bazaar, and it could be a second blacksmith. You definitely want to play with at least 2 blacksmiths, I think. Taking a long think here. Yeah, I was saying earlier, called an attack could be pretty good, although now the ports are gone, it's actually pretty tough to activate the attack. But it's pretty good just because there's no good curse trasher in this kingdom. Moneylender can't do it. Displace can't gain anything good, and besides which you keep the curse, so it's still -1 VP. So you really have to use Broker to trash your curses, which is just a terminal do nothing card, and you really want to be gaining favors from Broker, which you can't. So just a bazaar, no second blacksmith for Kazumaru. Ooh, we're displacing silver. Okay. I guess that makes sense. I mentioned you don't need that many silvers, and sure, turn it into a spices or something. Minionpawn does not need a bazaar. I would have much preferred spices there, I think. It's a pretty weird choice, I think. Also, Minionpawn really needs a broker. The VP is kind of hard to track for some reason. Oh, tower. So I don't actually know if they have an estate left. Oh, I can look at their exile mat. Yep, they have 1 estate left. Yeah, that was an extra benefit of Minionpawn kind of grabbing the ports. They get 4 extra VP over Minionpawn, which is nothing to sneeze at. So it's a 3 copper discard from Minionpawn. It looks like Kazumaru's blacksmith might miss the shuffle, which is very unlucky, but again, I would have encouraged them to get a second one heading into the shuffle. Alright, what are we doing here? Presumably mule this port. Okay. Oh, who has a second broker? Kazumaru has a second broker. Alright, so blacksmith makes the shuffle. Do we draw a copper? It'd be very nice to draw a copper. We do not. We could... Like, we could broker spices for draw, but... It's not bad. It's really not bad. You want to trash these copper. Maybe you need that plus buy, actually, from spices. You might want to broker What do you want to broker? It's all a little bit awkward. You could just broker the estate and draw cards from it. But and then you could be taking favors, right? You could just be saying, well, I'm just going to broker this moneylender and take another turn, which isn't bad. Would like to see a courtier gained at some point, but probably after a second blacksmith. Speaking of that, who has the second blacksmith? Looks like Minionpawn. I think both players have trashed 2 copper, but I don't know that for sure. There's certainly a high copper hand here for Minionpawn. Lots of permutations of options here for Kazumaru. None of them are like obviously the right line. They have 2 ports left in those 5 cards, which will mostly give them a clean shuffle, should they choose to broker spices and draw 5 cards. Or broker displace and draw 5 cards. They'll just have 1 copper on top of the deck. Yeah. And then you want to displace a state into something, which it could be another broker. They do have another broker down there. Oh, that's interesting. So they could broker displace here if they're like, I'm done with displace for draw. And then they can broker estate for favors and just plan on, I'll take the island folk next turn. I'll get the extra turn next time around. Lots and lots of options. Glad I don't have to make the decision. But this is setting a alarming or concerning pace of play for this match. For those who don't know, this is going to be a first 3.5 wins. So we could be going 7 games. All right, Moneylender gets trashed for draw. All right, here we are. Mule. Or we actually broker the port for an extra turn. Displace the estate. Yeah. Okay, this all looks reasonable to me. Wait, what? I thought we were going to take an extra turn. Okay, we are. We got to replace the spices though, right? That's our plus buy. Okay. Interesting. All right, holding on to the extra port. It could be good. Pretty awkward. We really need to get rid of these coppers. I think it makes sense to draw with broker, play on. You can replace the displace at some point. You just got to draw on. The turn is bad if you don't. It's definitely awkward if you draw Royal Blacksmith. Kazumaru might be playing with just the 1 blacksmith and just planning on using broker draw. In which case, I would expect to see them out at courtier pretty soon. Wow. This was not, I did not expect this. All right, what are we gaining? Courtier? Bazaar? Spices? Lots of options. Could even be a displace, so you can like trash one without being super sad. Spices, okay. And another broker, which gets it off of the out of exile. So they have 3 brokers in their deck now. They can definitely safely trash one now. And this is a good hand for the Royal Blacksmith, because there's like 1 copper down there. Maybe there's still 2. Minionpawn, meanwhile, saw 5 coppers in that hand there, which means that this Royal Blacksmith is also good, but at the risk of not having a good turn. Alright, a copper. Moneylender can do it. Can finally do it. Kazumaru pauses here, considering that they might broker the port, but nope, they play on. Are we drawing or are we taking favors? We're drawing. Alright, Moneylender definitely trashes copper. What are we doing here? Gotta trash either broker or spices to take an extra turn. It's a little bit awkward with just 1 buy, so yeah, I think you trashed the broker here. We could go for a province, and because we have the displace, right? That's our bottom card there. Displacing province is, of course, very nice. You've run out of other good displaced targets, so I like the idea of a province here, along with spices probably. But then there's courtier. You could also consider adding courtier. Although that looks a little better for Minionpawn. Maybe. Well, Minionpawn needs another broker, probably. And they do still have an estate, so they can displace. Minionpawn can displace estate into broker this turn. Most likely. It is remarkable how hard it is to trash coppers if you're using Royal Blacksmith for draw. Both players have just been stuck. This is like the very first copper that's been trashed after Royal Blacksmith has been gained. Yep. What next? Spices? Courtier? Yep. Okay. Oh, extra turn. Oh my goodness. 3 coppers discarded. A little unlucky, maybe? 3 out of 4. Yeah, that's unlucky. Alright, they're thinking about broker for draw. Mm-hmm. Okay, Moneylender trash copper. Displace province into something. Probably spices. Could be courtier. And then broker doesn't have to do anything in particular. You could just like get ahead and trash the spices now to get enough favors so you don't have to worry about that next turn though. That'd be pretty nice. Yeah, I kind of like get spices here, broker the spices for favors, and then just buy province. Seems pretty good to me. Although playing with a courtier definitely has some advantages. It's a little bit awkward. What I mean to say is Kazumaru's terminal space is more limited than Minionpawn's. I have called this turn in advance. I've done it. Why are we thinking? It has to be province. Buying anything other than province here would be baffling. Truly baffling. Okay. I could wish that Kazumaru was playing faster, but it's no need to in the sense of the tournament. So that was really good. I think this Royal Blacksmith will also draw just one copper. Quite good. Definitely click that Blacksmith. And then you have a full turn as Minionpawn. I guess you could broker for broker, like before triggering the shuffle. That's reasonable. It's just you're likely to discard an extra copper if you do that. I think you have enough draw anyway. You have like a billion ports. Yep. Wow. Keep going. What's the last card? It's not a bazaar. It's not a spices. It's a port. Perfect. Okay, so you can broker estate into broker. And then broker spices for favors. All good. Come on. Displace estate into broker. Play port. Play broker. Trash spices. Gain favors. Why are we waiting? Is there another broker in exile? No. Oh, okay. We might not want to play both brokers. I see. We might prefer to mule the port. Well, you can just decide that later. You can just mule the broker. It comes to the same thing. So you have 3 debt, which goes away with what you already have. So if you want to buy province, you probably mule a broker. What? Interesting. I feel like you want a broker, though. Are we taking province broker here? Like, don't you want a second broker? Just seems safer. So you do need to consider tower points. Maybe Minionpawn is thinking, well, I know spices is gonna empty, so if I hold on to my spices, I'll get some extra points that way. Speaking of which, piles are definitely getting low. I would be concerned as Minionpawn, like heading into Kazumaru's turn, if they can empty spices and brokers. Because that'll give them points through tower. So you really need to be getting some money here. So here, I mean, you just play your ports because you want to find a blacksmith. If you don't find it, you broker for cards. But you can broker the spices that way. I guess trashing port loses a VP, so that's a kind of a reason to avoid it. By the way, if anybody else listening wants to hop in for commentary, you're welcome to it. Okay, so we do trash a port and not spices. I mean, you definitely have enough plus actions, so I guess that makes sense. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, 3 brokers. Wow. What are those brokers gonna do? I guess you can trash one of them for favors. It's a little awkward, though, having 4 favors. Guess you can always mule them. We want to trigger a shuffle, right? There's just 3 copper down there. Ah, but we might want to do... Yeah, okay. There's no win here, is there? Is there a win? With tower, if you empty both piles, do you have enough VP to win? Kazumaru has 1 spices, so you'll get 4 VP from spices if you don't trash any. From broker, Kazumaru has 2 are in the trash, I think. So if you get all 3 without trashing any, you'd get 4 VP. So you do need some VP by other means. You can't just get it on tower. You could trash 1 broker for like broker for coins, and then you could get a duchy if you have enough for it. Or trash a port here. I mean, moneylender trashing copper is obvious, right? Well, I guess it's not completely obvious, because you might want to broker the moneylender. Need to think about that. Is there a win here? So spices cost 3. The brokers cost 12. So that's 15 coins. What do you have in hand right now? You got 5 if you count the coffers here. Then you've got plus 12, 17. And then you can get mule with broker for coins up to 22. That looks like a win. Yeah, this looks like a win. You can afford a duchy. You can trash the moneylender for coins. I did not see this. Good spot by Minionpawn. Tower. I feel bad for Kazumaru. They played it very well. They were ahead, and yet it looks like they're going to lose if Minionpawn executes here. $22 is what I count. Why did you do that? Oh, well, you can maximize VP this way, so that's pretty nice. All right. Well played by Minionpawn. Crazy comeback. Oh boy. It seems like the table situation is worse now. It used to be you only had to remake a new table. I think it's like if you started before the hour and then you went like across a full hour threshold, so there were like two server changes. But here the table's created around 3:30 and they played one game that lasted 30 minutes and they had to create a new table. Strange. Game 2. Seer is the draw. Also litter. There's potential mole stuff, but I don't think there's enough mole synergy to make that like a basis of a strategy. We've got the lamp. Do we have any ways to trash our starting cards? I'm not seeing them. So that's going to make it kind of like a crapshoot to activate Magic Lamp. It can be a little easier with Secret Cave, with Way of the Mole, though. It's a way to get uniques in play, even if they're terminals. So if you have enough actions, you can like cycle through a lot of cards potentially until you see your Magic Lamp, and you'll have a copper with it. Alley, of course, helps activate Lamp. And then the wishes themselves cost 0, so they play nicely with. Wait, they do not play nicely with Seer. That's not how Seer works. 2 to 4. That was Minionpawn's start the last game, so not too bad for Minionpawn. For Kazumaru. They get to start first here. I think you pick up a silver on the 3. And you can pick up an alley here. If you want to play with alley, opening it is usually the best time. Okay, well, we picking up a seer already? Seer into Secret Cave, probably, for Kazumaru. No, they have a 4. They could get farm hands, although it doesn't do much. Better to get farm hands when you actually have. I mean, you don't even want to play with many terminals in this kingdom, so farm hands isn't that great. Sacred Grove is fine to play with. Gatekeeper? How does that play with wishes? Okay, so you have Gatekeeper up. When your opponent pops Magic Lamp, one of their wishes will get stranded in exile. And then, when they play a wish, whatever they gain gets exiled. So Gatekeeper is actually pretty good. Pretty good here. The first person to like find a wish in their deck can use it to play Gatekeeper and interfere with the opponent's wishes. So I think playing with a pair of Gatekeepers is is gonna be worthwhile here. In which case you do want at least a little bit of plus actions. All that being said, Seer is the draw. You should get Seer, but next turn it's kind of interesting. So it could get Farmhands, could get Secret Cave. Either is fine. Getting Death Card would be a wild choice. Like, you can use the ruins as like Way of the Mole, but oh, are we gonna activate here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we're not. We got close though. If we drew into Seer, we would have. Kazumaru playing in that order, just in case the text of Magic Lamp had changed, and it only requires 5 uniques. So I mentioned Gatekeeper being worth it, but I don't think it's like worth to get it now or anything. I think I'd just be getting Seers. But getting a Gatekeeper off of your first litter, that's good too. Playing with 1 litter seems fine. What was I saying? Oh yeah, using your first wish to get a Gatekeeper seems kind of like optimal, or the first turn you have wishes. Getting at least 1 Gatekeeper seems good. All right, both players kind of mirroring each other. Looks like I think I would just you get Magic Lamp next turn as Kazumaru if you stop here. It might not be worth buying anything, or you just get another Secret Cave, because why not? I think this alley is going to trigger a shuffle, which is a little bit awkward. Litter plus alley, you know. A little awkward. A shuffle of 3 copper, 3 estates, and a seer. But I'm looking ahead a turn. That's bonkers. That was the wrong choice. I see the vision, but that was the wrong choice. Farmhands for 1 more unique, even though you don't have anything to like set it aside with. Set aside with it. Yeah, if they had drawn Magic Lamp, they would have activated it. And it was pretty likely because they have a secret cave down there. So maybe the right play, but didn't cash out. There's also a world where it works if they mold the litter. Because then they can play Secret Cave. They don't have the silver, but they go Secret Cave, Copper, Magic Lamp. So I think it actually would have worked. So long as Secret Cave isn't bottom decked, that would have worked as well. So a lot of ways to activate there that didn't quite work out. Another alley instead of farmhands. Hmm. Okay. One more unique. I mean, definitely play this litter straight up, right? You have 3 cards to find one unique. That seems highly likely. But not guaranteed. Oh my goodness. Okay, you can still get there if you alley again and find a seer that draws a silver. Oh my goodness, this is so unlucky. I'd get a gatekeeper here, I think. Actually, you know what I would do? I would have farmhands a copper. Can still do it with an undo. Farmhand setting aside copper should give you the best shuffle. And you're playing Seer, so you remove a card that Seer can't draw the copper. You put a card in that Seer can draw the farmhands. It all seems good to me. Yeah. I don't like that as much. Just because you might not activate here. These these turns aren't working. They are not working for either player. This one's got some promise for Kazumaru, but they don't really have a lot of targets that Seer can find. I guess there are 2 estates, Secret Cave. That's it, right? 2 estates, Secret Cave in 10 cards. Gatekeeper bot. You can mole. I don't like mole here, though. I don't know why we're playing alley first. This is crazy. Why are we playing alley first? I don't even know if it's possible to activate Magic Lamp if you mold this alley. Let me think. You would need to get litter into Secret Cave, into Gatekeeper, and then Copper Magic Lamp. Yeah, it could work. It's possible. Could also be Secret Cave into litter, but either way, you need both of those cards. And the Gatekeeper. It's not likely. It's not unlikely. If you see litter, yeah, it's not super likely. Does this matter? I don't see why this would matter. The order. I mean, I guess, whatever. I guess it's fine. Farmhands? Finally? No. Do you even have enough terminal space for that? Yeah, I guess you do. All right, this is guaranteed, at least. Okay, so this is guaranteed. But you've got the Gatekeeper, which is a little annoying, because now you get a wish stranded, and you never get that wish back. However, at least you can put your Gatekeeper in play for your opponent's next turn. Although, Minionpawn might not... I don't know what that last card is. Minionpawn might not be able to kind of get around to it. Secret Cave. I guess you can play the other alley if you want, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, because you drew the silver. You don't have to. There's no need to, but you could do it. Cave. Can't discard. And the order is not ideal. Like, why were we... Why play alley before cave? What's the reason for that? Is there any reason? Can we think of any reason? Because to me, it looks like you just cost yourself 1 coin. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. The gain a wish, exile a wish, gains 2 wishes, discards a wish from exile. Okay, so you... All right. Okay, until then, when another player gains an action or treasure card, they don't have an exiled copy of the exiled. Okay, so I think if you choose with your second wish to not take the wish from exile, you get to get all 3 wishes, it seems like. Which is good, I guess. You definitely want a Gatekeeper in play, but maybe you can't get the Gatekeeper in play. You know what I would have done? I would have just gained 2 Gatekeepers. It's super valuable to have a Gatekeeper in play, and you're not going to have it as Minionpawn. Hmm. That's nice. This is one of the latest lamp pops I've seen, or so it feels. It's not that late, just playing slowly. I'm scrolling down now. J Nails asks, "Will Akuchi remember to scroll down?" No, I can't. I can't with this bug. So there's a bug, I guess, whatever, a reality with the Dominion.games where when people send messages, I can't see them without manually scrolling down. It's very annoying. Okay, so Minionpawn didn't get a Gatekeeper in play on this critical turn for Kazumaru. I think I would, since I saw the wish there, I would wish for a seer here, play an alley, wish for a seer, play the seer, then you get the wish in hand, and you see what's coming up next in your deck. Potentially, you can wish for yet another seer or litter, whatever.
Er spricht doch wie 90.
Hello. Are you planning to join? All right, I'm gonna mute W dot dot dot. If you were planning to join commentary, let me know somehow and I can unmute you. A lot of background noise. I feel like this scrolling issue, I fixed it once, but I don't know how. Sending a message doesn't reliably fix it. Scrolling all the way down doesn't reliably fix it. Clicking in various spots doesn't seem to fix it. Pressing or holding down on the arrow doesn't seem to fix it. Yeah, I just wish there was one way to reliably fix it, you know? Okay, hold on. Hold on a moment. This is still Kazumaru's turn. There's a mid-gain farmhands from Minionpawn, which is very exotic. But this wish needs to be gaining Gatekeeper, right? I guess it doesn't need to, because the wishes are gone. Yeah, maybe it doesn't need to. Gatekeeper's done his job. Gatekeeper is not super valuable from here on out, because there's no more gain to hand that it can disrupt, right? Well, except for that gain to hand that just happened. Hold on a moment. I'm curious if... Okay, so if Kazumaru had played a Gatekeeper before playing the Sacred Grove, which triggered the Earth's Gift, which allowed Minionpawn to discard a copper to gain a farmhands, in that case, that farmhands would have been exiled, I believe. Which is obviously an interaction Kazumaru should have considered, but didn't. Yeah, well, as J Nail said, the Gatekeeper made it awkward for Minionpawn to play out their turn with the 3 wishes. They ended up gaining 2 Sacred Groves, only one of which ended up in their hand, and gaining a Seer, which went into exile. So they had to, like, buy a Seer, I guess, to get it out of exile. Yeah. So it cost them basically 2 good cards gained to hand, and possibly even more than that, because they might not have wanted to get 2 Sacred Groves there. They're probably fine with two extra Seers, though. Kazumaru apologizes. We can only imagine what the apology is for. Perhaps Kazumaru feels responsible for Minionpawn needing to take a break. That's the most natural reading of this. But it could be a belated apology for playing Gatekeeper. What is this wish going to gain? I mean, 2 wishes, I guess. We could gain 2 idols. Cursing is annoying here. You can't trash the curse, right? Asterisk. Don't edge case me, bro. All right, we're going with Sacred Grove instead. I think I would have liked two idols. I don't know. You kind of need more draw also. It's a tricky kingdom. And if you're going to be getting draw from litters, which is the most reliable draw, then you have plenty of terminal space, and Sacred Grove is probably a little better than Idle there. Okay, you do get a Gatekeeper. Is this correct, or is this just kind of feeling compelled to have balanced terminals? I'm not sure this Gatekeeper pays off. J Nail says Gatekeeper is basically draw. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not following that. Malo8 suggesting Secret Cave Alley as mole shenanigans. Yeah, I was thinking when I thought about like the way the mole deck, I hadn't considered how Alley as mole would let you actually discard with Secret Cave. I don't think it's particularly good, but it is a deck you could build, and it's pretty interesting. Speaking of interesting, that's a lot of alleys for Kazumaru. What? Why? Why are there so many alleys? They bought two litters, so that's how they're planning to draw their cards. Yeah, yeah. It's tough to draw with Seer in this kingdom. It's one of the weakest Seer kingdoms. Well, one of the weaker ones. It's still pretty good. Hard to make Seer actually bad, but it's not great. Okay, we're okay. Well, I'm not gonna commentate for 4.5 hours, so uh, I'll keep going until I get too tired to continue, I guess. Hey, I don't know what happened, but I automatically saw that message. It's a miracle. Praise be. We've got some good news. Oh my goodness. Oh, Cave's trying to take a nap. Let me switch to my golf commentator uh, persona. Oh, we're coming up pretty close to the end here. We'll see if Minionpawn can find a way back into this game. They're under the effects of Gatekeeper. Will they buy a province here? Golf is Irish, isn't it, originally? No, Scottish, right? Sorry, Scots. That's what I learned from Civilization, either 5 or 6. You could build a golf course if you were. I think it, I think it's actually if you were English though. So I don't know. Somebody from the British Isles can set me straight, or a golf historian. They definitely play golf in Scotland. Uh, I'm afraid to scroll. scroll the log. But it looks like Minionpawn didn't buy a province. I think province is going to be a way to score in this kingdom. That's my bold prediction. There's not the only way. You could play idols. Those are the only two ways, though. I don't think there are any other ways to score. Look at these alleys. So, yeah, there's a bunch of alleys. I got nothing more to say about it. What do you even do here? I guess you discard that. Whoa! Kazumaru's careful shuffle management was disrupted by the gift of the wind. The gates are down. Seems like a pretty good time to buy province. Just my opinion. What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay. I don't know how much more I can keep this up. The thing is, like, you should buy province and end the game. Buying idols makes the game go longer. It's very distressing. Ooh. J-Nails with the pro strats. Why Idol? Malo8 asks. Well, I thought Idol was pretty good like 2 turns ago. I don't know. It was 10 minutes ago, so I think 2 turns. When Kazumaru was playing their wishes, they had 2 wishes left in hand. And I thought, oh, this would be a really good time to gain 2 idols to give out a curse guaranteed. Instead, Kazumaru gained Sacred Grove #2 and Gatekeeper #2. Which they've had the terminal space to play, so that part isn't bad. But even regardless of like terminal space considerations, I think the 2 idols might be better. Getting 2 idols here, I don't like just because you could have bought a province. Could have bought province idol, and then you'd have an idol in exile, just waiting for the next idol you gain to just hop off, hop out of exile and into your deck. Why would you buy a province now? Question mark. You can just build more. Assuming that's not a sarcastic question, the answer is the building here sucks. These decks can't accomplish much. To like improve your deck, you need like a litter and some payload card. And the litter gives you -1 coin from whatever payload card you add. So you spend 10 coins and 2 buys, and you get 2 coins out of it, maybe, if it's a Sacred Grove. Less than that if it's an idol. That's how you improve your deck in this kingdom. It's not very fast, not very effective. Meanwhile, you could just buy provinces and just try to win the game by having more provinces than your opponent, which I think Kazumaru was clearly in a position where they could do. I don't know. I would just do it as either player. Maybe it's because I'm impatient as well. I would do it as a player and as I want it to happen as a commentator. So it goes either way. But yeah, the whole building more thing is good when you're building to something valuable. Here, it just isn't that valuable. You can also get death cards. Okay. Okay. So explain to me the value of the death card. You spend 4 coins this turn, and you get 5 coins on a future turn, and -1 card. That's the appeal. Yeah, better players often build more, and they're often correct to do so. And then sometimes better players build more just because they've developed the habit for it, and it's not really helping them win. Yeah, no, this looks like Kazumaru is probably gonna actually use Mole here. You know, it's pretty good when your opponent gives you what was it, Sky's Gift to start your turn. But I don't think the deck that just like moles a bunch is actually that good. Like the payload there is also kind of bad. Because if you want to play like your disappearing money, like Sacred Grove or something, then you still need to play a village, right? So you need a litter or farm hands to get there. That's kind of like your best case scenario. You play a village, you play a Sacred Grove, you play Alley as mole or some card as mole, whatever. And then the less good payload, the less efficient payload is you play Secret Cave, discard 3 cards, and then play like Alley as mole, and then oh wow, you have 3 coins next turn. Congratulations. What an amazing bounty. Sun's Gift is pretty good for both players, I'd say. So, yeah, we can just like draw up the and play the Gatekeeper here, and then Alia's Mole. Seems pretty good. I mean, these decks are okay. The big problem is they have to sift through all their starting cards, which they are unable to get rid of. Except for somebody got to trash a card. I think that must have been Flame's Gift when Kazumaru had already discarded down to 2 good cards or something. That's my read on the situation. So this is not ideal. You need a village. Are you going to find it? There you go. What do you do here? This is annoying. You'd like to play both of those idols, but it turns out playing from a 3 card hand is pretty bad. So Kazumaru is going to stop here. I don't know. Mole just doesn't look good here. This turn is worse than the previous turn when they didn't do mole shenanigans. Not much worse, but slightly worse. You know what else encourages buying province? Being under a gatekeeper attack. If you buy a province, gatekeeper does nothing. If you buy a card to try to build, gatekeeper slows you down. I wonder what those 4 cards are for Kazumaru. I don't. I think there's a seer down there. There might be 2 seers, so seems pretty good. Hmm. So will this game finish before 5? Because if it doesn't, they might need to change tables again. Uh, I mean, it's not in Kazumaru's interest to speed up the game now because they have the idols. Wait, hey, Minionpawn has idols. Look at that. Both players are playing this cursing game. So now the decks can get worse. Although Kazumaru's got 4 alleys to help sift through curses. Mountain's Gift is not what you want, but Kazumaru will take the silver. It can be drawn with Seer, so it's got that going for it. That's the end of the good things about silver. I thought there were 2 Seers down there for Kazumaru. I wonder what happened to their other Seer. Maybe they only have 1 Seer. Maybe Minionpawn has 3. I think that's the case, because Minionpawn had a Seer when they activated Lamp, and then they got 2 Seers on the turn that they played their wishes. One from a wish, one from their purchase. I'm not touching anything in the log or chat because I don't want to mess up this glorious state of affairs where I can see new messages. But that's my recollection. Does it make sense to play Litter before Seer? Because it's fine so long as you have a Litter left in your hand. Oh man, you can top deck one of these cards? Amazing. Kazumaru thinks for a long time about whether or not they want to top deck that curse. They decide against it. So since neither player wants to gain provinces, we want to look at the 3 piles. Alley is kind of low, although there's not a whole lot of incentive to buy more. Is there, what other 3rd pile might empty? Wisp is pretty good. Well, it's okay. It would be better earlier. I guess both players could shove idols into their deck. I don't know what that last card is. I don't think it's anything good. Maybe it is. Okay. Kazumaru stopping here. It might be a farmhands, actually. Oh, hey, we shuffled around to our... We cycled around. Kazumaru needs to think about what they're going to buy, add up all their money, see if trashing a copper will interfere with their plans. It's pretty late in the game, so I don't think it matters too much. Oh! Oh! A double. Well, good thing for Way of the Mole with this starting hand, huh? I mean, good thing for alleys in general. Not even the best thing to mole, because you kind of want 2 idols. But... yeah, thank goodness provinces have been bought, because I really don't see how the game would have ended on 3 piles. It might have been curses, would have been one of the 3 piles. No, it wasn't a farmhand. So Kazumaru doesn't have any farmhands, Minionpawn has 3. So what was the bottom card that Kazumaru wanted to keep? I don't think it was a litter, but maybe it was. No. They didn't start with a litter. They have a litter now. So, okay. Kazumaru intentionally discarded a secret cave. I just want to point this out on the previous turn. My assumption, leaving one card on the top of their deck, my assumption was that card was good. But then they started their turn, with Sacred Grove, 2 copper, Idol, Curse, which suggests that none of those are cards that I would want to keep on top of my deck. So that suggests to me that Kazumaru misplayed and forgot what their bottom, mistook what their bottom card was, right? Steph suggests an interesting option. In any event, it's fine because the litter was drawn by Sea's Gift, the opponent's Sea's Gift. What are we at? Where are we at with the boon draw pile? It was like there were like 9 boons left or something, or 9 or 10. I think wind might have already been seen, Iris, this cycle. I don't want to check that, but look at this. Minionpawn snaps up that gold in a heartbeat. Kazumaru does not? Okay. Would have been an interesting option to go for like Litter, Sacred Grove, Alia's Mole, take another gold. But I mean, it's hard for that gold to pay off. Okay. We got more alleys. Might as well discard the curse because Flame's Gift is gone. Oh yeah, Sacred Grove can draw cards. It's true. More alleys. Okay. I mean, hey, you got a lot of junk cards now. They're not even bad. Every curse you gain, you can get value out of another alley. Pretty much. And also every province you gain. Now, I would play the Secret Cave here before playing another alley because there's 0 chance that I'm discarding the Secret Cave. Just absolutely 0 chance. And that way it gives my alley a chance to see more junk cards. Copper is kind of sort of junk, but not exactly. Like a province, that's a junk card. Yeah, we do want to maybe... Yeah, maybe you want to actually keep the alley. Well, this is a nice draw. This was a very nice wins gift for Kazumaru. Meanwhile, that's an amusing wins gift for Minionpawn. They keep the curse in case Flame's Gift comes up, which won't happen until the boon pile cycles. Okay. These litters were kind of at the bottom. Now they're coming up. Okay, this is a full draw. We're playing Gatekeeper here. Oh, another litter. Wow. You can discard the litter, therefore, if you get Moon's Gift, you can top deck. Oh boy. Oh, that works too. Why were there 2 alleys in the discard? One was gained. Or 2? How did that other alley get there? I guess Kazumaru has 6 alleys. Alright, it's gotta be... Well, you take one province without thinking. Or at least I would. Then you think. Ah, there's one in exile. Okay. Thanks, Mr. Guy. I think another province is pretty safe. Like, it's really hard for your opponent to pull off double province, give curse, and it's almost impossible if they can do better than that. But if you want to play the long game, you can get Duchy something else here. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know what else. Death card. It's bad only if survivors is underneath that survivors. Death card. Death card could be correct here. Wait. It gets exiled anyway. Sad. Sadness. Might as well take alley number 7. Called it. So here, what does Minionpawn want to do? It's a bit of a tricky situation. I think you lose to double province from Kazumaru. See, you don't play around that. You do have to play around single province duchy or whatever. If that was even an option, which it's not. Is it correct to play that alley there? Maybe. You're trying to pair your idols, so I guess it's correct. So province duchy, right? Just there's nothing to it. I just think you straight up lose if you don't take that province. Yeah, you have to give yourself a chance. How did that alley get drawn for Kazumaru? River's Gift. Okay. That's a bad River's Gift, isn't it? I guess it's not that bad. I think you still litter. Saying that out loud sounds like I'm encouraging leaving trash behind, but no. You should convey somebody upon a litter, maybe yourself. Is that correct? I don't know. Okay, we're gonna mole, almost certainly. This is hilariously bad. Yeah, you want to mole here, right? No. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I don't think we mole anymore. That's certainly not. All right. How's there there's still an alley in hand? Okay, that alley was played from the other part of the deck. The shadow realm. All right, you gonna play this alley from hand? Cave. Discarding shouldn't matter. Either way. You're almost there, so you probably don't want to discard. Are you there or one short? I can't tell. Well, that didn't help. Ah, perfect. The game ended. Before the 1 hour mark, even. We're 1-1. Still anybody's game. Or anybody's match. Be right back by Minionpawn. It's usually polite to enter the kingdom before taking a break like that, but I'm not going to fault Minionpawn too much. I mean, Kazumaru could clearly use the extra time to analyze the kingdom. Depends what you're optimizing for, I guess. Now, if Minionpawn's gone for too long, they might fail to enter this new kingdom due to a server turnover or something. I'm not exactly sure what conditions trigger that. The race is on. All right, we're in a game. Hmm. Can somebody post or message in chat? I want to see if my auto scrolling is still working. It is not. No. Oh no. I have a half of a theory. I'm wondering if. Nah, never mind. I take it all back. I got no idea. And now it's really hard to tell when somebody sends a new message because like my message window is very large. But there's a kingdom here. Dungeon's usually a good opener. Minionpawn opens Fishing Village. I'm trying to figure out what our play is. We might credit something. Like we might credit Torturer. It's still a little bit weird to open Fishing Village. You could credit Pickaxe as well, right? It's not like the greatest of early game trashers, though. But it is the only trasher here, right? So you definitely want to play with a couple pickaxes, I'd say. Experiment is a pretty good target for pickaxe as well when it comes to that. So yeah, some combination of trashing your starting cards and getting loots with pickaxe. It's pretty unclear, I think, to me even now, how often or like how early you should go in for like loot gaining with pickaxe when you're passing up trashing a starting card. I think it's almost always better to trash a state, but not always. And then when it comes to like copper versus trashing like silver, or in this case experiment to gain loot, it's a much closer call. Dungeon gonna make it a little harder to play like pickaxe trashing a state. All right, Kazumaru just gets credit torture. I assume they're not buying anything on turn two. They can't, right? Well, they could buy a daimyo. That would be wild. That would be wild. Jane L says that's the play. Torture a daimyo. Minionpawn pondering their options. If they weren't aware of credit, now they are. Experiment Fishing Village seems like, I could buy credit to get stuff now, but nah, I'll just buy 5 costs the old fashioned way. It's a bit strange, but yeah, Kazumaru did not go all in, as Jane Ale says, and open with Torture Daimyo. They just bought a Torture, which is fine, I guess. Where do you go from here? A village is a natural thing to pick up when you have a terminal draw card. But I'm sure Kazumaru would have preferred to be able to buy pickaxe here. It was a bit unlucky that they drew into all three of their estates. It definitely would have been a nicer line to have a pickup. So if they really are wanting that, they could go credit pickaxe. They get a daimyo instead. Well, that's gonna probably work out for them. This needs to be Fishing Village, right? We're gonna play with a village, right? I mean, Daimyo Experiment is a pretty good village. So maybe you could. I would play with at least 2 fishing villages. Maybe exactly 2, but I would really want to play with 2 fishing villages. By the way, Seaway on Experiment is pretty Good plus buy. Otherwise, you need to get your plus buy from, well, it's Seaway or Hamlet, right? Or loot. Never mind, you got options. This is a long think, but I would really want to play with two fishing villages. It just makes everything better. It's just so much more convenient. But Kazumaru looks like they're gonna skip fishing village. I mean, a dungeon isn't any better when drawn dead, and no player has any trashing yet. Is Minionpawn gonna pick up a pickaxe here? I would look favorably on that. But they could pick up a daimyo. They're picking up another torturer. Now, Minionpawn has the two fishing villages, so they can support that. Is is it second torture better than a daimyo? I mean, I suppose it's better in the sense that if they don't wow, wow, if they don't collide with one another, then it's better to have the two torturers if you've got fishing villages, right? If they do collide, daimyo is just plus one card plus one action on top of what you'd get from just having two torturers. So a little bit strange for Minionpawn to get the torturer when they had 6 coins. Oh, so Kazumaru does get a fishing village. I don't know why they got the dungeon instead of fishing village the previous turn. Seems strange. Pickaxe sounds too slow to me. Um, um, I can't imagine playing this kingdom without pickaxe. I agree the timing is uncertain, like when you get it, but did you guys know that pickaxe can trash curses? Just saying, you wouldn't have to discard down to 1 or 0 cards in hand if you had a pickaxe to trash curses. It can also trash estates, which aren't doing anything for you right now. And then it can also gain loot if you trash a better card. And loot seems like the best payload here. Right? Like, Daimyo is good for deck control, but it doesn't actually amplify your payload. You can Daimyo a fishing village, but boy, is that not good. Yeah. I think you play. I think playing without pickaxe seems very strange. I want to understand you, J Nails. What's your payload in this kingdom? Okay, J Nails doesn't have a coherent game plan. All right. Um, just trying to say it's good to play a bunch of torturers early. I agree with that. It's definitely true. I definitely don't know when it's correct to pick up the pickaxe vis-a-vis torture or another daimyo. Yeah, the thing about that is you don't need to skip a turn when your opponent plays 3 torturers. You actually have the option to take a curse or two. This is not known to all. Lord Raddington in particular is would be shocked to hear about this strategy, but whoa, curse gained. It happened. Yeah, I don't know. I really wish one player would have gotten a pickaxe early so we would have been able to tell. I have to imagine that was Kazumaru's plan in the opening, like if they didn't have the 3 estate draw, I don't know. At least that would have been my plan. If you open Torture and then you get a pickaxe, like that seems like a good opening. And then if you're crazy, you can just keep buying daimios. And if you're less crazy, you buy like a couple fishing villages and then some daimios and maybe a second Torture. Mr. Guy, there's a card in this kingdom that lets you trash curses. So Minionpawn probably wishing they had more than 3 coins right now. Um, could get fishing village number 3. I don't love dungeon here, but it's not bad. Dungeon's never bad. It's just I don't love it here. Experiment. That's good with daimyo. Definitely good with daimyo, but I don't think you were really looking for more draw, were you? That wasn't really the problem. I mean, I guess you got kind of yeah. So you can just play Torturer straight up here, and then because you can play into daimyo and experiment, and you have another Torturer down there. Yeah, this should be a good turn for Minionpawn. All right. Wait, they have a fishing village in play, right? Or no? Yeah, they have one in play. I just can't see it. There it is. Well, why did you do that? I guess it's fine, but ooh, is this gonna be unlucky? What are we waiting for? Are we thinking I'd rather just leave Daimyo Torture for next turn? That's is it Daimyo? No, there's no Daimyo down there. It's Copper Torture. So if you draw Torture, it's good. You ruin your what? Oh, come on. What are we doing? What are we doing? Minionpawn should have bought pickaxe. They shouldn't have snap played the experiments either. I don't think. Oh, they had actions? That's awkward. Gee, I sure wish this fishing village was a pickaxe right now. So many curses. Oh my god, another torture. Okay. Well, two good players in chat think I'm wrong, I guess, about wanting to have a pickaxe. So this must be something I'm missing. So unfortunately, that time you had to play a fishing village. Not the worst thing in the world. You have 3 fishing villages, I think, as minion pawns, so you can feel comfortable playing 2 of them. Okay. Nobody bought a pickaxe. Amazing. There's no way pickaxe keeps up. I'm just so confused. That was turn 11. If you had a pickaxe on turn 4, you would have been able to trash like 3 junk cards, estate, curse, or something. Alright, 2-1 minion pawn. Into game 4. What is Sycophant doing? Desert Guides? Okay. Desert Guides pretty good. Especially with the militia attack. So it'd probably be good to open Catapult Mountain Shrine. That's where I'm leaning. The attack for Catapult can be countered with Desert Guides, but you know, you force the opponent to gain Sycophants when you do that. Catapult trashing Sycophants does not give out a curse, which is relevant. Once a Sycophants is trashed, Mountain Shrine will draw cards, which is quite powerful. Oh, are we missing plus actions in this kingdom? Ruh-roh. Well, that makes things more awkward. That makes things much more awkward. If you add a village, this kingdom is a whole lot better. Yeah, I mean, you Star Chart Mountain Shrine is okay, I guess. It's not exciting though. And I don't know, Star Chart's pretty bad because I feel like you just want to play with desert guides more often than not. I mean, I guess that triggers shuffles in its own right. I'm not sure how it all works together. All I know is there's a lot of terminals in this kingdom, and you can only play with one of them per turn. So Treasury is also awkward, right? Treasury is a cantrip, a peddler, which is pretty good, but top decking is actively bad if you're using desert guides. Now, if your opponent's not attacking you, maybe you don't use desert guides that much. It really is unclear if either player is going to feel like, yep, catapult and or militia are the best uses of my terminal space. Because there is a counter on the board in desert guides, but it's kind of an awkward counter. We'll see what the players do. Yeah, also, Star Chart is a little bit redundant with Barry. I mean, Star Chart is better generally. I mean, it's definitely generally better than Barry, but the point is, if there are situations in which you can bury a card and get the same effect as Star Chart. Oh, and then Marchland's in this kingdom, which I don't know. Kingdom's pretty painful now that there's no village. Marchland can like speed up games and make them end on 3 piles, but this does not seem like one of those kingdoms. This seems like one of those kingdoms where Marchland might be worth it, but it's more of a slog. You're just actually emptying Marchlands and getting a lot of green cards to score. Minionpawn opens Catapult. Kazumaru, Silver, Bury. What? Silver! Whoa! The double silver open. Okay, okay, okay. Are we playing with Haggler? Haggler seems not good here. right? Because Haggler is a terminal action that doesn't trash cards. I mean, you can play Forager non-terminally to trash, I guess. But like with Haggler, Haggler's best when you can like use it to gain either Village and draw a card, or Payload and non-terminal draw a card, or something like that, you know? But obviously Haggler can't do that here because there's no way to non-terminally draw. So this double silver open from Kazumaru is shocking, to say the least. We'll see what the plan is soon, I guess. Rebel money? Well, let's find out. Catacombs. Catacombs money? Okay. Okay. Now, maybe it's not bad. Maybe Catacombs money isn't bad. You buy a star chart, maybe? Ooh, Sycophant purchased from Minionpawn despite the fact that he's not being attacked. I mean, it's still pretty good. Desert Guides is still pretty good, even when you have a hand size of 5. If you don't like that hand, you just chuck it. It's all good. But Sycophant, not a good card. Not a good card. Catapult, not a good way to trash Sycophant. Okay, it looks like we're playing a Catacombs money enabled by Star Chart, probably into Marchland stuff. I am curious to see how this plays out. I wonder if Kazumaru has played something like this before. Okay. I understand why Estate was trashed there. A little... No, it's not risky at all to do this. Yeah. Yeah, okay. We got the Marchland plan in operation. This is interesting. And at some point you can play... Potentially... No, that gets a little awkward. Okay, at some point you can play with desert guides to set up, like, to find your one catacombs, right? You just, like, buy a sycophant at some point. This is interesting. Okay, so we have two very different game plans. Minionpawn trying to get thin. Kazu trying to rush Marshland. I don't know what's going to happen when Marshlands are gone. The game is not over in that case. There are more piles that need to be emptied. So I don't know what Kazumaru's game plan is going to be after that. Their deck's going to be pretty bad, full of, you know, starting cards and Marchlands. Okay, there's the Sycophant. Okay. LG 3003 is wondering about this money plan. The March... Yeah. Marchland just needs to hit 5. So the question is what happens when Marchland is gone. I don't know what Kazu's plan is there. The attack definitely hurts Kazumaru, but it doesn't, like, cripple him. Kazu thinking about whether they should take this because it does guaranteed hit 5, and there's a risk that if they discard, they don't hit 5. Yeah, so they decide on it. And you're just gonna Desert Guides next turn so you can draw Catacombs. So do you buy a Sycophant here? It gets in the way of your deck eventually. Maybe not. Sycophant's not a terrible card for Kazumaru. I mean, it is when you draw it with Catacombs, but... Half VP sounds like a lot to me. But I have not played that particular kind of game. Yeah, it's tough for Kazu to discard now because they have the risk of not hitting 5. It's a pretty real risk. But they're probably gonna have to like double Desert Guides if they don't chuck here, so it's an interesting situation. I think you take. You can almost afford Marchland Duchy, but not quite. Silver? Minionpawn has 2 catapults, and I don't know why. Well, they solved that problem. So are we gonna play with like treasuries as Minionpawn? Maybe a shop or two? You're not being attacked, you know that. So treasuries are back on the table. You're playing a thin deck. Yeah, I think I buy treasury as Minionpawn. So Kazu thinking about not pitching and just taking this turn. We buy Duchy or wait, we can't buy anything. Why did we do this? Why did we do this? Estate? Question mark? Yeah. Okay. There's the treasury. You can top deck that treasury. You don't, but okay. Ooh, we trashed the silver. We only have 4, so. No, no, we hit 5, trashing the silver. That's pretty good. Whoa! Marchland Duchy if we want it. Interesting. Why resign there? I still don't know whether it was going to work out. There's like a lot of game left. I'm just, I'm as a spectator, I'm disappointed in that resign. 2-2. Like I think Kazu had a good game plan, but I don't know how it was going to close against the deck that builds a little more. All right, game 5. Joust. Yeah. Nothing much to do with low price points, so I think you just open double silver, which is pretty annoying. Oh wait, Minionpawn has a 5. Alright, so as Minionpawn you open Rice Broker, surely, right? Surely. Did you guys know? I often forget this, but Rice Broker can trash estates. It can even do it non-terminally. Quite a good card. Uh, so yeah, the question was posed in chat, and a lot of people think that the open should be Royal Blacksmith, which I don't know. Seems difficult to open that on this kingdom, but I guess Rice Broker will have to suffice. But yeah, you just gotta open double silver as Kazumaru, right? Like Mountain Village. Hard to imagine that being correct. You're not even in any rush to play terminals, although Ronin can be quite good. Doesn't seem great here. Idle. We open idle. Why would we open idle? Can anybody explain to me why we opened idle? What a world. Oh yeah, Mountain Village is especially bad with Masons. Masons is pretty good, but Contract is kind of weak, so I doubt we're gonna see it used too much. It's definitely not bad. There's just a lot of competition for 5s. So it's gonna be hard to fit a contract in. You want a Rice Broker. Minionpawn wants an idol, I guess. You probably want 2 Rice Brokers. You want Joust, maybe 2 eventually. Swashbuckler's nice to play with, especially once you have a mountain village. So, oh, you could play with 2 Haunted Woods as well. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I don't think contract gets bought. Kazumaru thinks for 2 minutes, buys a silver, which was a forced play. Congratulations, you hit 6. What are you going to do? I would hope you would buy a Rice Broker. Okay. Okay. Ooh, double 5. Wait, why didn't Minionpawn buy a mountain village? Can somebody explain to me? Because then we could buy a swashbuckler here. Like, why'd we buy a silver? What is happening? What is happening? Why is Minionpawn just adding a bunch of stop cards into the deck? Silvers. What? What? Okay, so Kazumaru has a Ronin. They bought it on turn 4. Turn 5 is a Joust. Okay. Ooh, this could be Rice Broker trashing estate into Ronin. That would trigger a shuffle, but whatever. I like Kazumaru's play because they don't have 2 idols in their deck. Mr. Guy, I read what you wrote. Now, can you explain to me why Minionpawn bought a silver instead of a mountain village? By the way, battlefields in this kingdom, I don't think that matters too much because both players are going to buy a province reasonably early, and then probably a second province. I think battlefield just nudges the game a tiny bit. I don't think it's going to actually make too much of a difference, which is good. There are kingdoms in which battlefield is annoying. This doesn't seem to be one of them. We might see an 8-4 split, but it'd be weird for it to split more than that, I think. It's pretty like unlikely also for Minionpawn to collide two idols, so if cursing was the main benefit, I don't know, that's pretty dubious. Alright, so Kazumaru's got a second rice broker, which was probably correct anyway, but definitely correct in light of the opponent having two idols. We don't play Ronin here, probably hoping to pair it with a rice broker, but still no villages gained. Oh, somebody has a oh my god, Minionpawn has a contract. What? This is so weird. When did that contract get gained? Oh my god, turn 6 contract. What is up with this? I just explained why we're not going to see a contract even though it's pretty decent. This is almost 8. I don't know if Minionpawn wants a province since they don't have a joust. Are you gonna buy a joust maybe? So that you can take advantage of the province once you get it? I won't lie, having favors is nice. Oh, nice Ronin. Nice Ronin. We going for it? I don't mind it. Here we are. Oh, the mountain village. Oh, that's so nice. That's so juicy. So what's our prize? Our reward, excuse me. What is our reward? Probably draw. Like, I mean, your opponent's not catching up with you at any point, so I think I like it could actually be could go for House Carl actually. It could be Domain, and then you could like play this Ronin, but you draw 3 cards from the Ronin. That's pretty good. You could do the yeah. So, anyways, Renown is good, obviously, but there's no rush to get Renown. It's not like the best thing that you can do on this particular turn, which is why I wouldn't take it here. And there's no like risk that your opponent's going to get it anytime soon. Well, I mean, they might get it in 2 turns. So, I like. I think I like House Carl best, although Domain into, or even Courser, plus coins plus actions into whatever it's called, Ronin is also pretty reasonable. Lots of reasonable options. I guess you can't play Ronin non-terminally if you do the House Carl thing. I kind of wish that Kazumaru had thought about this in advance and didn't spend so long thinking about it now, but it is a non-trivial choice, so I'll give him that. Yeah, and then Minionpawn bought another contract because who the heck knows? Who knows why? Renown here? I don't know. I don't know. So what do we get? Do we get province number 2? Do we get Joust plus something? Mountain Village? Joust Mountain Village? I mean, all the rewards are pretty good. That's why I like a second Joust. Yeah, here we go. You can't get 2 rewards this turn, but it does increase the chance that you... Okay, so Minionpawn with the province, they have a chance to get a prize. So maybe it was correct to get the whatever, the princess. Should draw into a joust. Yep. We could completely deny plus buy. You can kind of. Oh wait, is getting domain give you battlefield points? I mean, it's not much, but it is something. Yeah, I'd take domain. You're gonna get a draw card option next turn, most likely. Yeah, deny the plus buy. It's like not the best, necessarily the best card for your deck at this particular instant, but it's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Kazumaru up 3-2. That was a quick game. More of those, please. Well, this might be the last game. Kazumaru at, win or a tie will clinch the victory. And we have a Page Kingdom. We are missing trashing again. We have mine. There's actually quite good for Seer. So mine turns copper into silver, which can be drawn by Seer. Treasure Hunter gains silver, which can be drawn by Seer. But no plus buy. No, Workers Village, which is plus buy, which can be drawn by Seer. You see where I'm getting at? Stowaway, which can be drawn by Seer, and then you play it, and then it increases your starting hand, which increases the chance that you have Seer in your starting hand. You can't get rid of your estates, but Seer can draw them. It's looking good for Seer. There's a lot of Seer synergy. Citadel Seer, oh my goodness. So yeah, I like Seer. I cannot lie. It's a little awkward to buy silver in a kingdom like this. So, do we do it? Do we buy like Page Stowaway, Page Workers Village, or do we just suck it up and buy Page Silver? Yeah, Taxman would be a pretty good open in this kingdom. Even though at some point the attack does nothing. Exploration page. I don't think that villager is gonna matter. So it just helps you hit 5. Which is fine, right? Then maybe you buy um mine on turn 3 or 4. It's not a guarantee. You might still hit 4-4 or like No, no, no. Isn't it a guarantee? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Exploration page guarantees that you can hit 5 on turn 3 or 4. Okay, I like that. I definitely like it more than buying silver. Could it? I mean, it'd be crazy. Could this be a kingdom where getting 2 mines is correct? I think that's a little too far. Kazumaru does not want to reveal that they have 3 coppers this hand. They could have bought exploration on 5. They could have done it. You can't know that they didn't. All right, so Minionpawn goes with Stowaway, which is gonna make their page miss a shuffle, which is always an option, like a consideration. Oh, or not. Well, I mean, it still does miss, but this is a lot better because Minionpawn got the Stowaway in first. So, are we picking up mine? I want to see a mine. I don't know if we're going to see it from Minionpawn. I feel like we're seeing it from Kazumaru. I feel it in my bones. I said the favor wouldn't matter, but it could matter for Kazu if they get mine here because they have a Stowaway. So, let's see it. What's mine is mine. What's yours is mine. Seer for sure? Malo says. What? I'm not saying Seer is bad, but why for sure? You're not like in a rush to accelerate the page. Okay, we get Seer. I'm rooting for the player with mine. Now, if Kazumaru gets a mine this shuffle, it's on my okay list. Yeah, you're gonna need the workers' villages anyway for plus buy, so it's like Champion isn't even that good. You play with Champion, but it's not an amazing Champion. LG 3003 thinking 5 turns ahead. It could be good to have a villager at any point before you buy champion. That much is accurate. We getting to mine? You gotta play with mine in this kingdom. If not now, when? You still have the villager. No fear. Oh, did I miss it? Minionpawn didn't is not playing with Paige? Oh, okay, that's crazy. Oh, that's exciting. That's a less than 2% uh situation, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check the latest stats. The winner gains a page 98.8% of games. So in just a little over 1% of games does the winner skip page. Will this be one of those games? one of those exceptionally rare games? I'm excited to find out. Minionpawn thinking, look, I'm playing with workers' villages anyway, so I'm going to have plus actions. Secondly, the attacks here are kind of weak. It's just bandit, right? So I don't need champion and bandit and warrior. So I don't need that much protection. However, there's a potential flaw in this plan, which Kazumaru can potentially kind of exploit, which is the workers' villages can be trashed by warrior. So if you don't have protection against the warrior attack, you can build a deck which punishes the opponent. I don't know, maybe it's not fast enough. Anyways, I'm rooting for Minionpawn because they have a mine. Yeah, at the moment, like, Kazumaru has just gotten their second page, so the warrior attack, if it's coming, the warrior stack, it's pretty far off. And Kazu still needs like workers' villages to have plus buy. Wow, are we buying Citadel? I like Citadel. That was a pretty good draw. Kazumaru is playing with Lost City. I don't know. This is like very different than I would have played this kingdom. Like, these Lost Cities are strange, are they not? I didn't actually pay attention to when they were gained, but I'm a bit confused. Unfortunately, Minionpawn doesn't quite hit 8 here. 8 would have been nice. I'm not in love with Leprechaun. I'm not in love with that at all. In fact, as Minionpawn, I sure would want a seer. Another seer there. Okay. I feel like Minionpawn could... There's a way to make the no-page deck work here. I don't know if Minionpawn's going to pull it off. I'm a little concerned. So is Kazumaru just going to like go single province, or are they going to play with workers' villages? That's what I want to know. This is the moment where we're going to find out the answer, right? We could just do a single province thing as Kazumaru. You could potentially even just keep hero. Just say I don't need champion. I've got 2 lost cities. I would have wanted to have a workers' village earlier as Kazu. Oh no, I missed it. Did Minionpawn get a page? Okay. Kazu saying, nope, we're skipping plus buy. And we're not getting the champion. Alright, so it's a no champion game. There's a page. It's sad. It's sad to see. Unfortunately, we yet again miss 8. Citadel is really good, and this is not great. Okay, so Kazu does have a workers' village. All right, so they have 1 plus buy. That's probably all you need. Kazu looks ahead, mostly on the back of these 7-coin hands, I think, for Minionpawn. Citadel is a really good project. Is awkward. 7 is awkward also because you can't buy Stowaway plus a 5 cost card like Seer. So, yeah. Kind of awkward all around. Like, unlucky too, right? 3 estates here. But the Leprechaun didn't help. I mean, it may pay off long term. I just don't know if there's going to be enough of a long term for it to be worthwhile. I'm not super thrilled about Leprechaun in the deck, to be honest. All right. It's a late page plan. This is unexpected. And you didn't get the stowaway in play, right? Oh wait, do they play the stowaway? Oh, they played the stowaway, but I'm confused. Okay. Maybe they had actions for everything. Oh, they used their villager to play the stowaway. Oh, okay. That, yeah, we'll see. That should be okay. They don't have any like terminal draw or anything, right? And they have a lot of villages. Well, they have 2 villages. Okay. Does Kazu keep going on the province pile, or do they smell the roses here? Seer is decidedly less good in Kazumaru's deck. They have 1 workers' village, 1 silver, I want to say, 3 estates, and maybe a warrior. Okay, you finally have enough for Citadel. You should buy Citadel. It's a good chance you hit Seer. Yep, there it is. Will it be enough? I feel like Kazu's got a lead that's pretty hard to overcome. Shouldn't you play Seer before Lost City? Pretty hard. Pretty hard to come back from this. What do we get here? Stowaway? Silver? Page? They all have value. I suppose I got excited about mine, but it turns out Hero's a better card in general. Has less synergy with Seer, but +2 coin, gain a gold is generally going to outcompete what mine can do. Workers Village, Seer, Seer. I guess you could Treasure Hunter here. You only gain 1 card, I think. That's a nice Seer. You can even get another Seer with Wish. I think there are a lot of copper down there. Still probably best. Though if that was the plan, I would play the Treasure Hunter first. Yeah, Minionpawn's definitely got the better deck now. It's just might have run out of time to make a comeback. Wishes are pretty good at gaining duchies. So there's something there. Okay, still pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got this treasure hunter. I assume you want to play it. I think you're allowed to play it. It's two silvers, right? Two silvers. But you get a warrior. You have two stowaways in play. Assuming you buy a stowaway here. I think you can play this treasure hunter. I really do. By province seer. Three silvers. How did I miscount? Province silver was bought. What was gained? Hero. Okay, hero was played. That makes sense. Okay. Province seer. Seer is like non-terminal draw 3 or 4. It's a very good card. And if you need more plus buy, you can get it from Wish. There's just like, yeah. I think the seer is correct. You could have also gotten a page, but I guess you don't need that. And I think getting another treasure hunter is probably correct. Just increase that payload. Well, I guess Leprechaun's going to increase the payload. And you still haven't been able to gain and play from Leprechaun, so you could keep it a page one more turn, I think. Yeah, I see that. This was a good turn. It started with a Citadel Seer. You might not be able to Citadel Seer. Well, with Stowaway, you probably should be able to. Okay, going for Treasure Hunter. A little bit bold. I hope you draw a good Citadel target. So what does Kazumaru do? Duchy or Seer? Duchy. Okay. Alright, we found a Seer. We're off to the races. Oh. The races have stopped. I think you need to wish for Seer, unfortunately. That's it. Oh, no, warrior. Okay. Are there any stowaways? I think there are no stowaways. That means Minionpawn's next turn is a little dubious. I'm kind of shocked by this treasure hunter from Minionpawn. I guess they're gonna do double warrior here, maybe. Okay. Oh, we wanted the wish this turn. What are we wishing for? Workers' village or stowaway? I mean, it can be Seer, I guess. Seer's probably good card, you know. Okay. What's the wish gonna do? I mean, it could be duchy, actually. That's another option. I just don't want to leave a gold and not have any stowaways in play, so I feel like you want to gain stowaway, seer, or workers' village here. You want to leave 2 provinces at least. Maybe it's fine to double here. Double puts you at 21 VP. If your opponent singles, you have a pretty reasonable chance to win. Oh, wow. I didn't even check to see if the win was there. That's pretty bonkers. Next turn is a little risky. So I'm liking double province and then maybe just get a bunch of seers. 2 provinces. That's an easy click. Then maybe 2 seers. Because the game gets a lot easier if you see a seer in your starting hand. What? Don't you undo that province buy. That's ridiculous. What are you afraid of? Get 2 provinces. Okay. 1 province. We're on the right path. 1 seer. We're on the right path. Feels bad to waste so much money, but I do see the upside of leaving 3 provinces. It's a little icky to me. It's a little icky because it's possible for you to beat 2 provinces from your opponent either on 1 turn or subsequent turns. Well, probably on subsequent turns, but it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. Okay, you saw Seer in your starting hand. You're saved. Probably. The rest of the cards don't inspire much. But if you can like just chain Seers into each other while drawing your 2 to 4 cost cards, you're in a pretty good spot. This is a nice turn for Kazu coming out, but I just don't think they really have double province in them. Kazu thinking for some reason, but there's really nothing to think about. Yeah, so is this province duchy? That puts you ahead. Yeah, then Minionpawn would need double province duchy. No. Just double province? No, double province duchy estate or something, which is pretty tough to get. Yeah. Yeah, this is it would have been better if Minionpawn had the province instead of the duchy, right? But they can still win this. They can definitely win this. How important is it to activate Leprechaun? I don't know. Ooh, it matters. Alright, so this is a win. Well played by Minionpawn. We're going the distance. That's a little unlucky. You have it. All right, our players are going the distance. I'm going the distance. We've got a game 7 alert. Send the siren out. Just a 5-minute break. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording. All right, here we are headed into the 7th and final game. Well, I think if there's a tie, second player wins. Worry about that if it happens. Fighting for their tournament life are Kazumaru and Minionpawn. What's the board look like? Missing plus buy. Nope, traveling fair. We're good. We got it all. Everything you could possibly want, except perhaps an attack. There's some potential fun with remodel Destrier. Okay, I said we had everything we could want, but actually it's kind of awkward to trash coppers. We can do it with remodel. You can even get a Crossroads from it. It's the kind of thing I expect to happen at least a little bit, but probably not a lot of it. What does Chameleon Crossroads do? Okay. Yeah, I don't think our players are going to keep their estates around, or at least I wouldn't. Remodel is very, very good at dealing with estates here. There's just so many good targets, right? We want Magpie. We want Flagship. We want Ironmonger. We probably want Advisor. And then we can also gain Destriers via via remodel potentially. Especially like Magpies gains themselves, remodel an estate into Destrier. That could be a thing that happens as well. I think I would prefer to open remodel over Magpie, but it is close. It is close. Usually Magpie, solid opening. Nothing about that has changed here. It's just that I want to trash those estates as quickly as I can with remodel. And the remodel targets don't really run out. That's something that can happen in a remodel kingdom that isn't so good, is like you trash your estates and then you're like, oh, I'm not sure what to do with this remodel anymore. But here, we don't mind trashing 1 or 2 coppers into Crossroads, and we don't mind trashing Magpies into Destriers or Catacombs or something. And then once we have Destrier, that's a potential target to remodel into Province. We can also remodel Catacombs into Destrier or Gold or something and get a valuable 4 cost in return. And these are definitely valuable 4 costs. Later in the game, Flagship I expect to be used in pretty sizable numbers. Yeah, I don't know if Jane Ailes is joking or not, but playing without trashing estates does not seem good to me. But it would be interesting to see one of the players try that. Ooh, remodel Catacombs into double Destrier. If you've already gained a card or something, right? That's pretty cool. Whoa! Minionpawn had the 2/5. I should have noticed that. Flagship Silver from Kazumaru. They are trying to gain a 5 cost or a Destrier? What are they trying to do? Now Flagship is quite good because it draws cards here. With Chameleon. I mean, it's usually quite good. It's even better now. Oh, we've got a Magpie Crossroads open from Minionpawn. There's not, yeah, it's not really a good 5 cost to get. Um, it would have been nice to see somebody open remodel, but I was deprived of that. I guess for Minionpawn, if you're opening Crossroads anyway, you don't want to like hurry necessarily to remodel them, so probably makes sense. I'm curious to see what Kazumaru's plan is. I didn't consider the flagship open because I usually only consider that when there's like a critical 5 cost card, like a trasher to get, but that is not the case in this kingdom. You can, okay, so you can with 6, you can Traveling Fair and then top deck a Remodel or a Magpie, which is quite good for Kazumaru. Double play Magpie. Oh, right, because of the flagship. Double play Remodel sounds amazing. But only if you see 2 estates. Then it just seems okay. If you otherwise. What will it be? Let's go, Kazumaru. I knew I could trust you to do the right thing. Yeah, Magpie might have been better there. Because, like, the odds that you see 2 estates there is quite low. And the risk that you see 0 estates, I mean, that was. The problem with this line is you can only ever buy a Crossroads, right? Do you want 2 Crossroads at this point in the game? Okay, Kazumaru says, yeah, I'm fine with 2 Crossroads. So that lets you put Catacombs into the deck pretty freely when you have 2 Crossroads. I mean, this outcome seems pretty okay to me. Maybe the Magpie was better, but it seems pretty good. Okay, big turn from Minionpawn. They've got a flagship of their own, and they put it to good use. They now have 3 Magpies that might get out of control. They still haven't trashed any estates, which will help their Magpies replicate. What do we want to do here as Minionpawn? We top deck something, but I don't know what. Everybody hating on Kazu. I support the remodel lover. I mean, top deck Destrier is probably the safest thing that you can do here. Yeah. I think I agree with Jounce. It's safe. You're already in a pretty good spot. Just play it safe and get the safest draw card, the unconditional one. Okay, Kazu's got a chance. No. So that's good in terms of they can buy a 4. It's bad because they still haven't replicated a Magpie. Let's see, what do we get here? Could be Ironmonger. Could be another Magpie. Both are pretty good. I don't think they have much good coming up next turn, though, right? They have a Crossroads, no estate, and they have a flagship that might not have a good target. So the Magpies might be out if you're Kazumaru. That would be a tough spot to be in. To only get like 2 Magpies, maybe. Okay, Ironmonger. Pretty good card. I assume we don't draw with the flagship. Maybe we do. There's some upside to drawing. And you only have the one estate left, so it's not like 2 coins is. It's unlikely for 2 coins to be more money. The only draws that make that. Yeah, I guess you could draw a remodel as well. Maybe better to just play the flagship straight up and buy catacombs or something. Alright, that turn was not amazing for Minionpawn. Flagship was played not for draw because they had no more actions left. Okay, we've got Crossroads into flagship. Ooh, okay. Okay. This turn is coming together. Now, Ironmonger is going to be played 3 times, and it can be Chameleon, but I don't think it will. Do we have... We have one more remodel target. Don't know if we're going to get to it, though. So discarding remodel is maybe correct. What you'd really love to do is put it as the second card from the top. And then Magpie draw a state hitting remodel to get another Magpie. Then play Crossroads to draw the estate. But you can't do any of that. So there's no point dreaming. This raw remodel cannot be played with an estate this turn, right? Well, no, there's one more Ironmonger play, so it can. It's just, who knows? Okay, that's an estate down there. So if you leave this copper, you're guaranteed to replicate your Magpie. Or if you discard the copper, you have a more than 50% chance to actually collide remodel an estate and a 50% chance to get another Magpie. Oh, this is a close one. This is a close call. I think. Wait, no, it's guaranteed that we draw remodel, right? Yeah, okay. I like discard. I think discard is best. Right? Because Magpie hits copper, in which case there's just remodel left and you draw it. Or Magpie hits remodel, in which case it's the top card and Crossroads draws it. So either way, if you discard copper, you get to play remodel and target your estate. The bad case, well, I don't know. Either you get an extra Magpie or and leave a copper on top, or you have a clean shuffle but no extra Magpie, right? So it's fine. It's better than having an estate on top, I think. Wow, leaving it on top. Very unexpected. Very unexpected. Hmm. So maybe we just want to leave the estate in deck for another turn or something. Wow, that's a lot of Crossroads. Okay. CG Destrier strictly better. Um, I don't understand. How does Caravan Guard give you plus actions that Crossroads does? Doesn't seem like it could be strictly better. Yeah, Advisor seems bad. Wow, that's a big Magpie swing. So 8-2 Magpies, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, that's a Magpie trick, right? Once you get to a card that reveals, you can just Chameleon it. That's clever. That was a lot of Magpies gained this turn. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. They all gained, I guess, right? Almost. One of them drew a copper. That's crazy. Woo! Well, things seem to be in Minionpawn's favor, but it's not over yet. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think Minionpawn is probably better off skipping remodel. Yeah, well, I disagree. 3 Destriers, right? That's really good. I wonder if they can even threaten. Well, they can't gain magpies anymore, so I think their ability to threaten the end of the game is not there. It's a good place to be, though. Ironmonger probably a better target than Magpie. Almost certainly. Well, you got a lot of coppers. Guess it's not certain. And you have no estates down there. Yeah, maybe Magpie's actually the better target. The better flagship target. Looking real rough for Kazu. That is not what you want to see. Are we playing this Magpie? Or are we remodeling it? What's going on? We have another flagship down there. I feel like we want to play Magpie here. That's good. That's good. Can flagship and then remodel twice, including remodeling that Crossroads. We're not drawing. Why is that? Why aren't we drawing? What are we doing here? Somebody help me understand. There might be a flagship down there, maybe? Looking rough for team remodel. Why wasn't this flagship played for draw? I'm trying to figure that out. There's no Magpie or Ironmonger down there. I don't think Kazumaru has any Destriers, so it must just be a flagship down there. That's the best I can think of. We go in Crossroads Destrier here. Top deck Crossroads Destrier, I assume. Okay. Flagship Copper, Team Enco says. What's going on here? Was there an undo? Okay. Kazumaru keeps the Crossroads to trash an extra copper. That's a lot of Crossroads. I mean, do they have the money for that? Sorry, do they have the plus actions to like... What are they doing with those Crossroads? I'm not sure they have the plus actions. Flagship on Destrier is action neutral. Flagship on anything is action neutral. Like, you can't increase the number of actions you have with flagship. If there's a village, you could, but there's no village like that in this kingdom. Unless I'm mistaken. If you play village, flagship, village, you end up with 4 actions. Whereas if you'd played village, 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 you'd end up with like 3 actions. No, or would you end up with 4 still? No, you end up with 5 instead of 4. Okay. I think. No, I could. No, 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 no. I'm wrong again. Can flagship ever increase the number of actions you have? In the village, flagship, village case versus village, 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 I think you end up with. I mean, I guess you're increasing actions compared to if you just had nothing instead of that flagship, but not if you had village instead of that flagship. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, here we are on Minionpawn's turn. The remodel is in hand along with Crossroads and Flagship. What is the mission? What are we doing? What's down there? Probably some magpies. 2 magpies down there, if I'm not mistaken. Something else down there. Maybe another flagship might be down there. So Minionpawn kind of out of actions, right? That's the situation here. They don't have all the actions they need to play all the stuff they want to play. So they could just not draw here, maybe. I don't know, it's all kind of awkward. Yeah, at the end of the day, you can only play 3 terminal actions, including like subsequent crossroads. Not counting flagship if you flagship something non-terminal. But if you flagship something terminal, that does count. So yeah, both players I think are kind of like out of action space with no way to get more. Which is another argument against remodel. Yeah, like you literally can't. What was that about? Okay. Like you literally can't play remodel more than 3 times in a turn. That's like the absolute maximum you could ever play remodel. Is that and that is not what Minionpawn's doing. They're like, well, I bought this remodel, but I don't, I don't want to do anything with it. Okay, safety province? No, just 2 provinces. Interesting. I feel like we could be threatening piles. Hmm. I'm normally in favor of buying provinces, but I don't know about that. It does kind of help the crossroads, unreliably. It might have been better to do something different. Don't we need to play this crossroads? I don't see any reasonable alternative. The fact, I mean, there's a big question of why Kazumaru has 4 crossroads in their deck. Like that, I mean, that's a big question. They like undid trashing one of those crossroads, which would have been a pretty good play, I'd say. Okay, there's like got to be a flagship down there, but that's not a good flagship. Oh yeah, Ironmongers gives plus actions. Hey guys, did you know that? If Ironmonger reveals an action, you get plus action. This is breaking news from 2012. Breaking news from 2012. Minionpawn should probably have some Ironmongers in their deck. Womp womp. Wait, oh, that was an Ironmonger. Okay. I mean, did you actually want that flagship? Okay. Well, then Minionpawn probably shouldn't have added the remodel. The point is, they were out of action space. This was a foreseeable problem. They could have added Ironmongers last turn, right? But, well, no, they could have only added one if they wanted to get a province. It is tricky for Kazumaru to find a way to win, that's for sure. Why did we undo that? Oh my goodness. Oh, okay, yeah, you wanted a Chameleon then. Okay, 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 okay. Press the button again with the Chameleon this time. Oh, no. Okay. Getting a flagship down. Okay. Yeah, 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 that makes sense. I guess this means we're not getting province. Could be Ironmonger Destrier, Flagship Destrier, something like that. Something plus Destrier, because that's the target you want with your flagship, I assume. Yeah, I mean, there's a problem with like Kazumaru building will also lower piles, which gives Minionpawn yet another way to win the game. This can't be thinking. Like this has to be Destrier, no? You'd have to be like, I don't know. You'd have to be thinking multiple turns ahead. Map Maker. No, you need a non-terminal card you can target with flagship lemons. J Nails. If you wanted Map Maker, you would have gotten it instead of flagship. If Map Maker triggers on the opponent's turn, will flagship trigger it? Huh. That's interesting. It's still not non-terminal in the way I meant it, but it is interesting. Okay. I see the map maker vision. I think maybe map maker Destro would have been the best line, but yeah, that's interesting. Well, this is a lot of cards played to see 6 copper, but the turn will improve at least a little bit. Okay. This is going to be a lot of money from the Crossroads, right? Flagship, Crossroads, you draw 5 cards and then you get, I think it's 5 coins. That's pretty good. That's a lot of money. This probably wins, John says. Yeah, I think that's one too many actions there, Johns. Excuse me? Well, this is interesting. Oh, is this enough money? If we just get play flagship and then like Crossroads twice for coins, let's what's that gonna be? That's gonna be no, three times for coins. That's gonna be 8 and then 15. Wait, wait. This can't be better, right? Than double flagship Crossroads. All right, let me just think about what that would have done. You'd have had 8 plus 15 coins, otherwise known as 23. You need to buy traveling fare 7 times. So that brings you down to 9 coins. Crossroads 4 times. You'd be off by, I think, 2 coins. There was probably a line here. I guess we should look if there's still a line here. Because it's not over. You can get 5 more coins here. So you can have 13 coins. No, 15 coins with the flagship. Take it back. 14 coins because you need to remodel a copper if you go that line. So you remodel Magpie and Copper into Crossroads. And then you have your 14 coins. You need to spend 10 of it on traveling fare. You have 4 coins left. No, it's not quite enough. I don't see the win here. I don't see the win. Are we taking double money from Crossroads maybe? So that would give us 17 coins. We remodel Magpie into Crossroads. We need to spend 12 on traveling fare. We have 5 left. Oh. No, no, no. We don't have enough. Magpie is Chameleon. Okay. What are we not remodeling then? Oh, Destrier costs 4. Why does it cost 4? What happened there? How did we get Destrier to cost 4 already? That's what I'm confused about. Oh, no, no, no. I was looking at the number left. Oh, God. Okay. Doesn't Destrier cost 2 after you gain 4 Crossroads? What am I missing? Y'all think, like, what I was hearing from the chat is that Destrier would cost 1 after you gain the Crossroads, but that doesn't seem right. It costs 2 after the Crossroads are gained, which means you need 3 coins to buy Destriers. I just don't think it's here. Oh my God. What is happening? Okay. So we're on board that this is not, there was no win, right? No, Team Enco, like, Destrier starts by costing 6. If you gain 4 Crossroads, Destrier costs 2. Shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Minionpawn is in a strong position. Kazumaru can't win this turn. We're all pretty confident of that. And if Minionpawn can get one more province, I think that takes the game away from Kazu. Mill province by duchy might even take the game away from Kazu. So Kazu probably needs to play for a full dud from Minionpawn. A full dud is possible. Yes. With a full dud, Kazumaru has a chance, although this turn is going to be better than next turn unless they do something to set up next turn. Because they have this like flagship situation, you know? Was the milling bad? I don't think the milling was bad at all. Like, Kazu cannot win this turn. Milling definitely seems good. Okay, what? I don't understand what being close to the pile out on that last turn has to do with like milling a province when you're not pursuing that pile out. Like, yeah, maybe you should have considered like top decking a Crossroads along with some green and like maybe even a Destria or something. I'm not saying that wasn't the line, but milling province just seems unambiguously good from Minionpawn's perspective. Being up 24 VP. If Minionpawn gets a full dud, I think it's gonna require 2 good turns from Kazumaru, but I think it is actually possible. The deck is kind of weird though. All right, so we know what the last card is. I don't know what it is, but somebody, hopefully Kazumaru, knows what it is because that's relevant for Ironmonger played as Chameleon. We know for sure. Oh, okay, so it's probably a copper, given that Kazumaru started with that line. Yeah, that's an interesting line. That helps set up the next turn. I like that quite a lot. Okay, that's a pretty cool line. So we take one province. Oh, do we just take 2 provinces here? That might be correct, but it loses to like anything. Okay, Kazu's not that bold. Every line that isn't 2 provinces makes it harder to win next turn, though. 2 provinces would have had the best chance. Two duchies and a destrier. I mean, I don't like that. I think you want to take a province. Unless you're playing for 3 turns. If you're playing for 3 turns, you leave provinces. But if you're playing for 2 turns, I'm pretty sure you want to take a province. Mm, okay. So two duchies and a state is what is being proposed. Yeah, I mean you've got a flagship Crossroads coming up, so adding 3 green cards has a lot of merit. Hmm. Yeah, Minionpawn really needs to find a Crossroads or two. They can't even play a flagship before Crossroads, so the kinds of good draws that Minionpawn needs are pretty hard to come by. I mean, they have a lot of Destriers, so that helps. But they really need to find a Crossroads. Then the possibility space opens up, because then they can go like flagship Destrier, flagship. Well, you can't go flagship another Crossroads. So you kind of need flagship Destrier at that point. No, 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 no. Flagship, another Crossroads. You still have one action left. That does work. It's maybe not ideal, but it does work. There's a pretty good chance that, well, there's almost a certainty that MP doesn't have a full turn. But the question is like, what is the turn gonna look like? And I don't know the answer to that. What is happening right now? We're putting 4 estates on. Okay, I don't think anybody called that out on their bingo. And a Destrier. This is bonkers. Are you gonna have enough VP next turn? Okay. You take points as Minionpawn. Kazumaru would like definitely set themselves up to not have points. So I mean, you just buy a duchy. There's nothing else you can. Oh, you're wondering whether or not you should Chameleon this flagship? I can't imagine the upside to Chameleoning it. I can't imagine much of a downside either, but it's just completely unknown. You still lose. I want to see this play that gets Kazumaru 24 VP. 3 provinces and 2 duchies? That's crazy. I want to see it. Ooh, remodel Destrier. I like that. I want to see it. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying I want to see it. Show it to me, Kazu. Overshoot Jane Ailes things. Okay. So you're kind of hoping to find an Ironmonger somewhere before the end of the deck, I think. I can't imagine taking money here, so why are we even pausing? Why are we pausing? Can somebody explain that to me? Can anybody explain why we're pausing now? Okay, no green drawn, which is kind of unlucky. But you did get the Ironmonger. So Ironmonger is good if it reveals an action, and it's also good if it reveals a green card. So question is, do you flagship the Ironmonger? I think not playing the Destriers makes sense if you can. Well, I guess you can remodel them. One Destrier. Okay. Don't we want to play this Ironmonger? I feel like we want to play this Ironmonger. Maybe flagshipped. And even, I mean, even hitting a green card with Ironmonger is like, it's not bad. Obviously, you want to hit the action, but yeah, like if Ironmonger reveals a green card, it's just as good as Destrier because you probably want to put the green card in your hand. If it hits an action, it's better. So it's only if it hits a treasure that it's worse. And Kazumaru does not have many treasures in their deck. They have like one copper left. If it hits a treasure, it's just as good. Yeah, okay, that's true. That's true. Yeah, so Ironmonger is definitely a better flagship target than Destrier, right? Yeah, you can only remodel one Destrier to province. That's true. Okay, we drew a copper. I feel like we got an Ironmonger here. You're actually running out of action targets, aren't you? I think there's one magpie, unless it was trashed. It wasn't trashed. So there's one magpie down there. There's probably a crossroads. I don't know. There might not be. Is there a flagship down there? I don't know. I think Ironmonger actually legit ran out of targets. There's just green cards and one magpie down there. Shouldn't we have played a magpie straight up to get more information? Well, that option is gone. So Kazu has to do it without any more actions. This is rough. Crossroads can't go to Duchy. So there is a rationale for keeping the magpie if you think you want a double remodel. But I don't think double remodel is actually any good, right? You'd rather just play Crossroads again. So I think the play is you double Crossroads for coins, you get, and then you single remodel Destrier into Province. If that's like the best winning line. So Magpie gives you one more coin. Okay. Magpie gives one more coin to 4. Flagship to 6. You have 11 with the treasures. You have another 14. So 25 coins. And you have an extra, and you have a province. So does 25 win? Um, you have 13 VP. No, it doesn't win, does it? I don't think this wins. We're short, aren't we? Because you have no VP. All right. Seems to me like the predictions of overshooting were incorrect. I think if Ironmonger hits one action, it's there. If Ironmonger hits two actions, it's maybe there with a little bit of comfort, but that's maybe not an expected thing to happen. And it might not be here with the actions as is. What's the undo to? Biphase undo? I I think I'd only accept a biphase undo here, maybe. I know it's a no info undo. This is a really like tilting no info undo. I hate being in Minionpawn's position like this. I I hate this. Biphase undo I grant without feeling too bad. This undo I grant very reluctantly and with a sour expression on my face. No, I don't think there's a win either, but you obviously don't want to lower provinces if you can't win. I mean, lowering one is fine. What are you comparing against, TMN Co? It sure looks like this is both of those things. Yeah. I need to go warm up my oven for dinner. So Kazu not winning, trying to set up next turn with some duchies and Crossroads top decked. Probably not gonna get it next turn, especially since estates are now a pile. So Minionpawn just needs like 2 estates and 2 Crossroads to win. And with no remodels, that's gonna cost 14. With remodels, we can just get 2 provinces. Okay. That was a messy endgame. Good resilience by Minionpawn. They probably should have kind of set up their next turns the way that Kazumaru was doing. That would probably have leaded them to a safer victory, but they played a good game and a good match, and they will be advancing on to the next round of the tournament. And they will be playing against Haka 3, which will be a fun match. So thanks for watching, and there will be more tournament coverage coming up in the future. Until then.